as to how Hillary's lawyers blackmailed the judge. But anyway, so for exposing her and her lesbian circle, I got put on the enemy's list, and so did my associates. We went through a lot of hell. Maybe I'm joking a little bit about it now. We didn't laugh at the time.
Yes.
Now, now why, coming back to the point, why have I centered on George W. Bush? Remember, I'm an independent, neither a Democrat nor a Republican. It is because the Red Chinese became aware of the details and are blackmailing Bush to divulge, in violation of his position in the White House, U.S. military, industrial, and financial secrets to what some believe is a sworn enemy of the United States, that is Red China. If you study the Constitution, aiding and comforting a sworn enemy of the United States is the classic definition of treason. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Victor Ashe, as the mayor of Knoxville, would cavort and rendezvous sexually with George W. Bush after having traveled with him and so on.
While he's president.
Yes, while he was president, in a cocktail lounge in Knoxville, owned by the principal financier in the United States for Osama bin Laden, who is granted complete immunity. How do you like that?
Yeah,
now, if that doesn't indicate that there is a national security problem here, I don't know what would. Okay?
Now, what is your view? Because we know the Illuminati, when they met this year, the Bilderberger Conference, they chose Edwards to be their man.
Well, I'm technical. I go step by step. I put that on the side for a moment. I'll try to come back to it as time permits.
Okay.
Now, his third cousin, and there's a congressman now that has the DNA between George W. Bush and John F. Kerry and is prepared to submit it to Congress. There isn't a law that says that cousins cannot run against each other, but the point is there's shadowboxing. If you heard Albert Gore Jr., I, for one, describe him as the duly elected president in 2000, but not inaugurated. I've written a whole series that's on the web and on my website about a book that was reprinted in early in 2000, written by Gore Vidal, and the book has a simple title, 1876. There was an election in 1876, almost identical to 2000, where the whole thing revolved around corruption of the U.S. Supreme Court and get this, the corrupting of, in 1876, of the Florida Election Commission. It's in Gore Vidal's book called 1876. It's practically identical to what happened in 2000. And Samuel Tilden, who won the popular vote and won the electoral vote, but it was overturned by a corrupt judiciary, tried to get inaugurated, but troops blocked the street and didn't allow him to get to the inauguration stand. And so Rutherford B. Hayes became the so-called occupant of the White House. Why do I refer to that? Because the public called him thereafter Rutherford. And if anyone has heard me on the radio or internet and so on previously, I call the current occupant Bush fraud. Like Rutherford, he stole the election. All right, now let's come back to it. John F. Kerry. So number one, there is a sordid, unholy arrangement between George W. Bush and John F. Kerry. Secondly, Kerry is subject to a great deal of blackmail. There are people, I know who they are, who have a authenticated video from the time that Kerry spent a lot of time in Europe. Kerry was educated in Switzerland, and he grew up principally in England. And even in more recent years, spent a lot of time over there. And what happened is, and I will try to be as polite as I can, he engaged in sexual perversions with 3-year-olds and 13-year-olds. And thereafter, according to these authenticated video, he had some role, which is really shocking, where the video ended up to be porno snuff. Now, if people don't know what that is, porno snuff started as an idea in Argentina, where at the end of the sexual perversions with children or 11 or 12 or 13-year-olds, they kill the victim right on camera. I mean, to me, that is the most horrendous thing that I can think about.
Yes, it is.
And, of course, they're asking for a very large price. They want $500,000 for it. But I know the people that have the video...
and he was the one doing this in the video.
They do what?
He was the one, actually, the person in the video. He's just not involved in this kind of a market.
You'd have to know a lot of the details of the video to know why I say that there appears to be complicity to that extent as well.
Yeah.
The fact that the video also shows these other perversions involving John F. Kerry is bad enough. Look, Daniel Shore, an experienced journalist with CBS, a couple Sundays ago made a revealing remark. He says, it may well be that we will not find out the sordid details of John F. Kerry's first wife divorce until October, and what can we do about it at that time, says Mr. Shore. And so it's known to the media. The White House reporters that I talk to off the record, and my policy is always to protect witnesses and sources. Were I to name them, they'd lose their job and so on. So that puts me in an odd position, because a lot of people say, where are your witnesses? Where are your documents? Where are your sources? Look, we touched off the biggest judicial bribery scandals in the history of the United States and did not endanger any of our witnesses or sources. That ought to tell you something.
Right.
I don't want to find out that my witness's airplane blows up tomorrow, or that he fell off a building, or somehow tomorrow night his body is floating in the canal. I don't want to find that out.
Right.
So I take the responsibility on myself. But considering what I, as the head of this group and spokesman for our investigative group, have accomplished in 41 years, I think that speaks for itself, that we were able to accomplish things while protecting our witnesses and sources. I don't believe that the government can protect witnesses. This last Sunday on the 60-Minute program was an important translator woman, Sybil Edmonds, who had direct knowledge of prior testimony, of prior knowledge that George W. Bush and others had prior knowledge to 911. There are threats now by the government against CBS for running that thing. If you're really on top of the news, you know that Mike Wallace, who's an 86-year-old, a longtime member of CBS's 60-Minute program, was apparently unlawfully roughed up by police in Manhattan. One of the people that was a participant in the Sunday night show revealing this has been falsely threatened with arrest by the U.S. Attorney General, who I guess I have cynical names for all these people. I call him John Ashcan. But anyway, so I mean, I have a lot of details. I know what I'm talking about. I've been at this a long time.
Right, and it's not easy getting the truth out there. It's not as easy as people think. People think we have freedom of speech, and we really don't.
Right, right. Now, so the point is, coming back to the point, it is possible, and of course it would depend whether the elite, the ruling class, whatever you call them, the aristocracy, I mean, the media are their puppets, and so on, and they will. Now, notice this: the governor of New Jersey, a Democrat, had a secret homosexual relationship, extramarital, and because he was being blackmailed, he resigned. That's. I think that was yesterday.
Right. I've been reading about it.
You didn't read about it?
Yes, I have been reading about it.
All right. That seems to be an advanced example of some sort regarding Bush. Look, I know a lot of these things have all kind of complications. Somebody says, well, wait a minute, Bill and Hillary...
You call her Dragon Lady, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, on your website you refer to Hillary as Dragon Lady.
In the Juanita Broderick rape case, she says that after